Well, as you probably know, we are selling roughly 40% of our wine portfolio to Gallo.
Right.
So when the reality of it is that our remaining business was actually up in the first quarter. Our depletions were up over 4% with some of our critical brands like Kim Crawford and Meiomi and The Prisoner and so forth. So we're pretty pleased with the results around our wine business in Q1.
So if you're selling 40% of the business, but it's only going to fall 25%, you actually think there's some decent growth there still. Where would that be coming from? You know, what does the consumer want these days? Is it wine? Is it beer? And is it craft beer? Is it cannabis?
Well, it's actually some of all of those. One of the things that's changed in the last 20 years is today's consumer drinks across all three categories, beer, wine, and spirits, much more than what had happened historically. And we're perfectly positioned for that. We have all of our products in the high end. Whether you talk about our wine business, our beer business, or our spirit business, we're playing in the high growth, high margin sectors of the business, and it's paying off for us.
High growth, high margin sectors of the business. And as you said, that's partly why you're divesting the lower price part of the wine portfolio. So how does cannabis fit into all of that?
Well, cannabis is going to be a big business. And we studied it very carefully for a long time. We got a lot of external help on the question. And we said, this is something that we need to be in. The consumer is interested. We see it as somewhere in the next 10 years of a $200 billion business. It's going to be big business. And we felt that it would be important to be involved with that and be a part of that. And we chose to make that investment through Canopy. And we're very excited about the long-term potential of that investment.
I'm curious, and I certainly understand the business case for getting into the cannabis industry, but I wonder, as you went through that internal conversation, where and how did the moral questions about getting into that business fit in? How did you get there as you are really buying into another line of intoxicants?
Well, we did a lot of study as to how cannabis actually works and what the medicinal benefits are, as well as the recreational use of it. As you probably know, CBD has gotten legalized here in the United States and is a huge opportunity. So we certainly had a lot of discussion around that very topic, but the benefits that the cannabis plant can provide to the consumer is immense. You know, you think about the ability to reduce the reliance on opioids as an example. There's just a lot of ways that the cannabis can be helpful in people's lives today. And we felt that that was an important element that we wanted to be part of going forward.
Let me just probe a little bit more. Are you saying then that you think that the success of your investment with Canopy is going to depend more on medicinal use than it is on recreational use? And, you know, Constellation is basically a recreational kind of company. So I have to think that that's a critical part of the business decision that you made, and that you think it is not only going to be a big business, but a moral business to be in.
For sure. You know, we are very aware of the social responsibility elements from our core business today. And we think that both the medicinal side and the recreational side are both going to be important characteristics. But we will do it in a socially responsible way, in the same way that we run our core business today.
Bill, I bet you thought when, you know, you've had such a home run with Modelo and Corona and those brands in this country, I bet you never thought that you'd have to worry about tariffs, right? I mean, what kind of planning is going on now around that exposure, if any?
Well, we obviously study the question carefully, and it certainly looks like tariffs are off the table as it relates to Mexico at this point in time. And we're prepared. If in fact something were to happen, we'd always be ready, and we can mitigate it to some degree. But, you know, the reality is we have a great trading relationship with Mexico, and our preference is that we continue to see the free trade so that great brands like Modelo and Corona continue to flow into the United States unabated.
Right. That said, do you think you just have the scale that basically you would just push back on your suppliers?
Well, I think certainly there would be some hit if that, in fact, occurred. But we're actually preparing to move forward. We think that this is largely behind us. And certainly, as you saw in Q1, the results around our key Mexican portfolio have been excellent. And we're really focused there on making sure the consumer's getting what they want.
We just ran a little clip of one. I was going to end by saying, your Corona ads make me thirsty. And that they're very, very effective. What is your big Prosecco, by the way? Do you want a big...
We are... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, what is your big Prosecco?
Ruffino is one of our Prosecco opportunities. You know, we bring that in from Italy, and it fits right in with some of the consumer trends that we were alluding to before. It's lighter, it's refreshing, and people enjoy it during the summer.
You bet.
I've got the Modelo song in my head now.